Hello and welcome. My name is Mr. Vosters. I'm a high school engineering teacher, and in today's video, I'm going to show you how to create a decent rendering in Revit 2024. Okay, so I've got my site plan loaded. This is one that we've worked on in other videos that I made previously. So I've got it loaded up here. We've just got a simple topo surface, topo solid really, with some grass, some asphalt, some sidewalks that are concrete, I believe. And then we've got our building that's got a ground floor as well as a foundation with some stairs in it. So if I go to our 3D view, we can kind of see what we're working with. Also got some little telephone poles here. Got a fire hydrant over there. So we may be able to incorporate some of those things to kind of make it look decent when we render this. So when you're generating like a report or something for a client, sometimes you want to have a little bit nicer image than what you might get in like a 3D view like this. So what I like to do is begin in our top-down view, and then you go to the View tab. So you may be in the Architecture tab, click over to the View tab, and then click the drop-down under 3D View and find Camera. So this is essentially placing a camera in somewhere in your map or in your site plan, and like treating it as if you're taking a picture of your structure or of your site. So just click where you want it and then drag it to where you want to kind of look at. Our elevation is a little bit weird in this one. So we're like 770 feet above sea level. 769 is right here, 768, 767, 770 there. So right now our elevation of our camera is at 5'6". So we're going to need to update that to be 770. Let's just do 775 feet. And then we want our target elevation that we're looking at to be 775, at least to start as well. Now we can actually see all of our stuff. Right away I'm seeing like, okay, we've got the asphalt road, we've got the fire hydrant. If I make this into a shaded view, we can kind of see what's going on here. We can maybe move our camera a little bit closer. There's a little too much asphalt in this for my taste. And if we're going to render it, I don't want it to be all black like this. So I'm going to go back here and I'm just going to move this camera a little bit forward. So I'm going to go here. There's a little bit less asphalt. We can even see this catch basin there, which is fine. So from here, once I've got my camera kind of positioned how I want it, I go back to my 3D view and I'm going to click up here where it says render. That's going to bring up the rendering menu, and I'm going to walk you through some of the different options here. So quality wise, you've got draft, which is going to be like a first draft, render, really basic. And I just click render right here. You can kind of see how that looks. Hopefully my computer goes somewhat quickly through this. Rendering does take a lot of processing power. This is a draft render, so you can see it looks pretty basic. A little bit, some of the graphics look kind of strange, which can definitely happen when you use the draft option. So I typically will choose either medium or high, and then resolution, as long as you're just using it on a computer, screen is fine. If you're going to be printing it off, you may want to select printer and then something like 300 dpi. I'm just going to use screen, like I said. That's going to be fine. It says it's going to estimate your image size. Mine would be 4.1 megabytes. For the scheme, let's choose exterior sun only. And here you can select the sun settings that you want. So I'm just going to choose sunlight from top left. But if you wanted to, you could choose the location. So we are in Noblesville, Indiana. Let's see if we can even find that. Perhaps we can. Yeah, there we go. And then if you really wanted to, you could see what Noblesville, Indiana would look like on the summer solstice, winter solstice, spring equinox, or fall equinox. In this case, we're not going to get that in depth, but by all means, feel free to explore it if you have designed your site so that you get certain shadows, in the winter and you get and you want to have no shadows on the summer solstice, you can use this tool to kind of check those things out if you'd like. For me though, I'm just going to keep it basic, and for the lighting, I'll choose sunlight from top left, and I'm going to leave the angles and the altitude here just how they are. So I'll click OK. And then for the background style, you can choose from a few different options here. You can do no clouds, few clouds, cloudy, very cloudy, or you can even choose a transparent background if you're planning on using some sort of photo editing software, Photoshop for instance, to add a background. You can use the image tool, or you can like import an image for the background. I would kind of advise against that, and I would just either make it transparent or make it colored and then do like a green screen type of color and then edit it using some sort of post-processing software if you really want to go that route. For me though, again, I'm going to keep it simple. I'm going to choose few clouds and I'm just going to use one of the sky options as provided. It also allows you, Revit also allows you to adjust the exposure. Do not do any of this right away. You can always edit all of these settings after you've rendered it. So you can by all means adjust these settings, but I would recommend you just render it first and then adjust after the fact. So I'm going to click render here. It's going to take a minute, so I'm just going to either pause the video or I'm just going to speed through this, okay? So I'm going to click render and you'll see it kind of start to process. Okay, so that is our completed rendered image. Again, that was under the high setting. If your computer is not quite as powerful, you can always choose a different setting, or if you really want, you can choose the custom option, or you can edit that, and you can even render by time. So if you just want to make the best render possible in 3 minutes, you can do that. But I'm pretty happy with how mine has turned out. Again, we can edit the exposure and stuff from here. So if you're like, that looks a little bit dark, you can brighten it up a little bit. Maybe a little too much there. And then if I want to highlight and add some shadows, maybe add some saturation, make it a little warmer, we can do all that stuff. Let's make it a little bit cooler. That looks pretty good. And when you're happy with it, then you can save it to your project. For one, you can name it and it will actually show up over here under renderings, or you can export it as a JPEG or any other type of file. You can also export it as a bitmap or a PNG or even a TIF file. So I'll just export it as a JPEG. And then it does also allow you to flip back and forth between our model and the rendering. You'll notice just a few things, like the rendering is going to add shadows and things. So you can see a shadow over here by the fire hydrant. You can see the overhang of our roof creates a shadow, which is kind of cool. So it's just a nice way to make a pretty picture that you can include in reports and slideshows and things like that, and showcase all the hard work you did to create your structure in your site. So that's it for this video. Hopefully you learned something, enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.